right now we got an amazing testimony that I want to jump in, and it's actually, it's very similar to what we were talking about just right before the song, and finding that hope and joy when there's really nothing around you, or the things that you have had and have loved have been taken away from you. And I know there's many, many people right now who can relate to that. So I definitely want you to tune in on your, and when I say tune in, I don't mean with the television, I mean tune in with your mind, with your heart, and really listen to the story we're about to hear right now from Miss Lynette Jackson. Lynette, thank you so much for joining us
for
today.
having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, I've got your book, Hollow, When Everything That Means Anything is Taken Away.
Yes.
I think right away, I mean, that just strikes right to the core.
Yes.
Let's, though, start with you. I want to ask, where are you from? Were you born and raised here?
No, I was actually born and raised in Philadelphia.
Oh, really?
So I'm a Yankee.
Okay. Well, how long have you been in Atlanta?
Almost 23 years. So
okay.
I've got
It's
in
been
my veins now. So.
Yeah, hopefully we've rubbed off by now.
Yes.
So, well, what brought you to Atlanta?
Actually, my ex-husband. So I was married, and he was from Atlanta, and so we moved here. Actually, when he was laid off during the Saudi war in 2000, so we just moved here.
Okay, was he in the military, or
no?
That just
he wasn't.
was the
just
timing.
Kind of happened during that time. I remember that.
When you referenced that,
Yeah.
I had to ask that. Okay, well, share a little bit about your story then.
Great.
Let's go from the beginning.
From the beginning.
Yeah.
Well, let me just first say that. Again, thank you for having me and this opportunity to share my testimony. This book Hollow is my journal. Actually, I journaled during 18 months of a traumatic event, series of traumatic events that took place in my life. In 2005, my mother was diagnosed with congestive heart failure, and the doctor at Piedmont actually said, take her home, make her comfortable. And I was just like, well, I always make my mother comfortable. But my mother knew what the doctors were saying. And so she said, baby, time ain't long. And I said, what do you mean time ain't long?
Wow.
She says, I'm about to go home and be with the Lord. So what the doctor is telling you to do is take me home, make me comfortable, because time ain't long. And I was like, Mom, you're going to be fine. You're just as strong. You're just having a good time. You're going to be fine. She said, time ain't long. And so I was like, well, what do you mean? And she says, my time is up. I've done my work. It's time for me to go home and be with the Lord. And I'd love to do this with you. So she wanted to do hospice. She was released in hospice, and she wanted to do it in my home with me. That's a big, big undertaking to be able to deal with. And so she said, you know, I want you to help me prepare to go home to be with the Lord. And I thought, really? Well, first of all, I'm still not really believing you. But I said to her, how do you know that you're getting ready to go home to be with the Lord? And she said, well, first, God prepares your mind so you can talk about it. And I said, interesting. She says, and then you begin to talk about it. And anything you talk about, faith comes by hearing. And when you start to hear it, you believe it. And if it gets in your heart, you step out on it. And the thing that you step out on is going to come to pass. And I knew then she was telling me the truth. And I knew then I didn't have much time to be with my mother. And so the last 30 days of her life, we prepared her funeral, we picked a coffin, we did the obituary, we did the program, we picked out her outfit, we did everything for her. She was excited that she was going home to be with the Lord, but I was not doing very well. I was not coping. She was my best friend. I'm the youngest of 7 children, and I didn't do well with it. And so caregiving is very difficult when you are having to caregive for someone, especially when you watch life leave. And I could take naps in the middle of the day when she would take a nap to try to rest, but when I would see her, I would see always just a little less life. And so I didn't really know when the end would be. I just knew that it was coming very soon. And so I didn't deal with it and cope with it very well. And so I would get her up in the mornings and, you know, give her a bath, and just the strain of picking her up and putting her in the tub and getting her to the restroom and caregiving was draining on me. So I pulled my back. And my mom said, well, you know what? In hospice, we have all this pain medication, so I'll give you some Percocet. You'll be fine. So she gave me these Percocets, and I became addicted to the Percocet. And I was on another television show, and someone asked me, how did you know you were addicted?
Yeah.
I said, when I didn't have any more, when there were no more pills left. That's when I knew I had a problem. And so I started abusing alcohol. I also abused food. These were things that I was trying to fill my hollow core with. My mother did pass.
Yeah.
She went home to be with the Lord in 2005, December 1st, 2005.
Okay.
And so I decided I needed to get out of Atlanta. I needed to change my pace because she did pass in my home.
When she passed, were you addicted to Percocet at that point, or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and I was really struggling, really struggling. And it was very shortly after that I knew that I don't have any more, so I started using alcohol to try to give you the same feeling. And the thing that was interesting about this was the fact that I couldn't shut my brain off. I was exhausted with caregiving, but I would go into the next room and try to relax. But my mind would say, would it be today? There would be days that I would get up and walk in there to see if she's still breathing. If it's today, when will it be? Because no man knows the day or the hour, and I didn't either.
Yeah.
And so it was really torture for me to be able to just try to relax, but I didn't know when the time was going to be, and it frightened me. I was very scared. I didn't know what to do. I never had a dead person in my home, and it was going to be my mom.
Yeah.
So it was really traumatic for me, and I didn't know how to cope with it. And when she passed, she actually had me to do part of her eulogy. So I ministered at her homegoing service, which was very difficult to do.
Yeah.
But I did it, and then I took a job. I got out of Atlanta and took a job with a nonprofit organization that I really wanted to work for. And I lost that job in 4 months because I didn't fit in. And so now the spirit of rejection, I've gotten the spirit of loneliness, I've lost my best friend, my mother, but now the spirit of rejection has set in that I don't fit in. And no one wants to not fit in, especially in a new job, in a new city, in a new town.
Yeah.
I didn't know very many people. During that time, my nephew was diagnosed with cancer at 36, and he passed away in June. So I got fired in April. June, my nephew passed away, and my mom left me responsible for a mentally ill sister.
Wow.
And she...
Let me jump ahead.
Yeah.
I can't believe this has been going on, but so what was the climactic point for you when, you know, all this happening to you, and the grief and the rejection and the addiction to eating and alcohol and Percocet, and what was the breaking point for you?
Well, the breaking point and the turning point was one day I was actually on my way to get more alcohol, and I was listening to a song on the radio by Dorinda Clark Cole, and it was called Rescue Praise. And I realized during that process, you know, my sister taking her from life support, I realized in that process I never grieved. I never went through the grieving process, and I was angry. I was mad at everybody. I was mad at my family, my friends. I was mad at God. I said, you know what? Why did you do this to me? Why is this happening to me? Why me? And I said, if you're really God, if you're really there, I need you to help me. I need you to come into my life, and I need you to help me if you're really God. And he says, I've never left you. The reason why you couldn't commit suicide, the reason why you were severely depressed and contemplated suicide, the reason why you couldn't go through with it was because I was there with you all along. And I said, wow, you know, and I said, God, help me. So he says, I will, I'll fill you. The only thing that would fill you is my love. And he began to open himself up to me and show me the very facets of who he was and the love that he had. And he began to share with me that he was my waymaker, that he was my lover, that he was my friend. And he never left me. And he loved me more than anyone else in the world could love me. Yeah. And I said, God, help me. Show me, you know, I need things. He says, I'm going to show you something that you'll never forget. And I want to share this with you because you'll probably never forget this ever again when you see this. The Lord showed me one day I was on my computer working, and I had all these computer programs open on my computer, Outlook and all these things. They were all minimized. And I said, Lord, I need help. He says, well, I'm going to send you an update. So that little pop-up, you remember that little screen that pops up with the update? He sends an update to me, and I postpone it because I don't have time, you know, because we ask God for what we need. We ask God to come in and fill our lives, but we don't have time. So I had all these programs open. He said, just because you minimize the programs in your life doesn't mean that they're not running in your life. that you have to close the programs. And most of us today are asking God to help us, to fill us. And He is sending us an answer. He's sending us an update. That program is designed for you to shut down everything, allow Him to upload His Spirit, upload His program, upload His power so you can run better, you can run faster, you can run quicker, you can run smarter, you can run wiser, but we postpone it. And He said, Lynette, I keep sending you updates, but you keep postponing them.
Wow.
So I decided, Lord, I'm going to say yes to your plan. And I'm going to give my life back to you because I had taken it away.
Yeah.
But I'm going to give my life back to you and allow you to upload life to me again. And I've been running faster, stronger, better, wiser, and more powerful in anointing than I've ever have in my entire. I'm better now at 52 than I was at 30.
That's fantastic. You're 52?
I'm 52.
Wow.
And I'm very happy about that.
Wow. Wow. Well, what a blessing it is. And I know you're sharing it, and I know there's so many people out there who can relate to that and who are going through that stuff.
Yes.
And I love the name of your book, has that perfect picture right there, that it's hollow, that when, we have these troubles that come in our life, and we do have that hole inside of us, especially when we lose someone or we lose a job, all those things that create holes in us, and we want to fill those holes with drugs or alcohol, and then when we can't fill them up, we do get desperate to want to commit suicide.
That's
and
right.
I love what you said, though, that the reason you weren't able to actually do it is because God never left you. He was there the whole time.
He was there the whole time.
The only thing that can fill that hollow space
His love is the only thing. And I don't look like what I've been through. And that's only because of the grace of God.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, where can people go to find out more about you and, of course, get the book?
Excellent. You can go to my website. It's www.lynette.tv. I'm on Twitter at Lynette TV and Facebook Lynette.tv. So it's really simple.
Easy enough. Yeah.
Easy enough.
Lynette.tv. So definitely I encourage everyone to check out Hollow, When Everything That Means Anything Is Taken Away. Lynette, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely.
I really appreciate it.
And it's such a powerful story.
Thank you.